Hi. So sometimes I wish I had an instrument because then I can like stand up here and tune it and fiddle with it while I was nervous and adjusting, but I can't. So I'm going to do a couple poems. The first one is about two things that are really important to me, grammar and women. So I love you like a run-on sentence, like I don't want to rest to catch the breath that you took away from me when you opened your mouth and showed me that words could be drugs. Or when you bared your soul and I saw that beauty is way more than sin deep. Or when I really looked into your eyes for the first time and saw that the distance between the present tense and the future tense is really only as wide as the space between where you are and where I will be. Which is to say, not far, because I will be where you are. And I love that you're going to point out that this isn't technically a run-on sentence since I'm using conjunctions, not comma splices. And in any case, I'm not afraid to end this sentence anyway, because a period or two never stopped me from loving someone. Don't explain that to the children. I love you so much I need commas and semicolons, because even the list of reasons why I love you has little lists within it. I love that you know the difference between M dashes and N dashes, and you capitalize your sentences when you text me, because honestly, I find good grammar sexy. Loving you is a gerund, because the noun phrase that is having this relationship means understanding the difference between existing and living, and knowing that I'm doing something and someone worthwhile with my time, and truly believing there's nowhere else I'd rather be being. I love the way your modifiers hang and your participle dangles. I love you like a sentence fragment because you. So I wrote that poem on National Grammar Day, which is March 4th, if you want to write that down, it's important. And as you all know, 10 days later is March 14th, which is Pi Day. So I thought I should also write a math poem. It's really short. This relationship is an inequality, because you plus me is less than 3. And if me and you are each 1, then me minus you equals nothing. That's it. Anyway, so I used to have a BlackBerry for work, which was really cool because I used to be able to write down drafts of poems and then go back and read them later and edit them. But they took that away when they took away my job. So now I'm back to using a notebook, which is cool because I can write things down, and sometimes I'll find fragments and write poems based on that, and then sometimes I'm just like, who is the schizophrenic person who keeps stealing my notebook and writing random things in here? But one line that I've had that I've been trying to work into a poem was just, speak to me in knife tongue, carve my driftwood heart. And I haven't figured out the beginning of the poem yet, but I have the ending, so I will read that. Last night, I filled my pockets with stones and followed the sinking sun into the ocean. I thought I might find you there if I could only reach the horizon. And as the ocean wrapped its arms around me, I felt your touch, the way you held me like an anchor. I tasted your salt on my lips. I remember now why I never wanted to come up for air. Loving you always felt like drowning. That's all that I have for that. So this next poem is, I wrote it at an Amtrak station, kind of about being Asian American and how people tend to not see that as American, or to assume that people who look Asian can't speak English well. And I wasn't actually writing about a specific incident at that time, but I took the Amtrak again like 2 months later and was surrounded by racist people. So I don't know if I like breathed that into existence with my poem, but I was sitting next to this guy and he was talking a lot. And then he pulled out his laptop to show me a bunch of pictures, which was weird. I'm really bad at getting out of conversations with strangers. But so he opens his laptop, he turns it on, and he has a Confederate flag as his background, and he goes, "Oh, pardon the Confederate flag." And I was like, I don't think that's something you say pardon for. That's like, oh, sorry, I stepped on your foot, pardon me. You don't just like, whoo, Confederate flag background. Anyway, so maybe this poem is cursed, and I'm bringing more racism into the world, or something. I'm gonna stop talking now and just do the poem. It's that compliment that I know is gonna make me angry. Wow, you speak English so well. You're so eloquent. Where did you learn to talk like that? Where did I learn to talk like that? Motherfucker, I was born here. I study poems like the lines of my hand, devour novels like short stories, curl up at night with the Oxford English Dictionary tucked under my pillow. Actually, that was hyperbole, exaggeration used as rhetorical device, because have you seen the Oxford English Dictionary? It's like really, really big. If you slept with the OED tucked under your pillow, you'd wake up with a crick in your neck and a spine as stiff as the one you pressed your cheek against. That's wordplay, asshole. I do double entendres too. I have earned my poetic license. I have spent my hours behind the wheel past your accent test too. Do you know what this language has cost me? I am first-generation Chinese illiterate. I cannot read my grandfather's poems. I live 6,776 miles away from the ashes of my grandmother's bones, and I'm still searching for a language in which I can write the word home with a word that feels like my own. I am still searching for cracks in the concrete to sink my naked roots in. Maybe that's why the word diaspora depresses me. Every time I hear it, I think of dandelion seeds blowing in the wind. They can't go home again. I can't go home again, and I know I will write this poem again. I know I will write this poem again, so maybe my rage is displaced. I am aiming my anger at easy target bigots instead of facing the fact that sometimes I resent my parents for turning their backs on Taiwan, for leaving behind tea and rice for Coke and Big Macs, for the pursuit of an American dream built on San Francisco railroads, built on Chinese workers' backs. Maybe I'm tired of seeing a banana in the mirror, yellow on the outside, white in the inside, split between a culture I'm surrounded by and one I don't even really know. Maybe I'm afraid to face my disappointment in myself for choosing to study French instead of Chinese. I cannot read the stories that my grandmother told to her 4 children. Maybe I'm embarrassed of my shame, embarrassed to be embarrassed when strangers mispronounce my name the same way I mispronounce the phrases my parents spoke as school children. The phrases they would speak if they went home again. They can go home again, but I can't go home again, and I know I will write this poem again in English, which I speak so well. So I've always wanted to be in a band, but I can't sing. So I thought it would make me look cooler if I brought a guitarist. This is Lorena. Lorena is also going to be performing in the open mic, and tomorrow's her birthday, and she is single. So if you want to buy her a drink or ask her out, we will be sitting over there. You can also do both. You can buy her a drink and then ask her out. She might be more receptive. She's tuning. See, she gets to do that because she has an instrument. I'd just be up here like, blah. So this next poem came out of a conversation I was having with one of my friends about relationships, and her argument was that if you go into a relationship and you know that you're gonna, mess it up. It was swore. I already did. Sorry, children. But if you don't go into a relationship and you know that you're gonna mess it up, she's like, well, if you warn them ahead of time, then it's fine. I was like, you can't really do that. You can't control how the other person feels. So this poem was kind of for her, about her. It's kind of a lecture, but. Yeah, the point being, if you feel like you're going to go into a relationship and get your heart broken, then the only thing that you can really do that's fair for yourself and for the other person is just to love so hard that your heart shatters. My words spill across pages like star-crossed lovers' gazes, like I'm trying to fill dark spaces between heavenly bodies with a body as divine as yours. I write to try to portray you in deeply etched lines, spreading ink across blank sheets as empty as the ones you left behind when you crawled out of my bed and crept into his. In the hollow of my heart, the thought that echoes is this. This was my fault. I could never be enough to hold you like a small child grasping the strings of an atomic cloud of helium balloons, too light to stay anchored to this earth, too afraid to be swept away by a wind whose name I only heard once. The whisper of your name should have filled my sails, but my ship stayed anchored where this port is, heart guarded like a fortress by an army full of excuses, like, this is never going to last anyway. So it didn't. This was my fault. I stacked my secrets in a cabinet just beyond your reach, buried my dreams like seashells in sand your tide could never wash away. Jumped over the broom when you tried to sweep me off my feet, so with every breath, I breathe my regrets to anyone who will listen, telling them all the things I should have said to you, like, you make me want to be the prophet of my own religion so I could preach the gospel of loving you, the entire world my congregation, proselytizing on street corners, thumping the leather-bound Bible of my heart's deepest longings. And every holy verse that passes through my lips you placed in my hand when palm touched palm in holy pilgrim's kiss. Like, you make me want to learn geometry, calculus, and physics so I can calculate everything from the shape of your smile to the curve of your hips to the velocity of how fast I fell for you. You make me want to be a cartographer, so I could map every line of your body with these fingertips and chart any course that could lead me back to you. You make me need to learn other languages because I just don't know enough words to describe how you make me feel. Et pour que je puisse te dire sans cesse que je t'aime dans une langue que tu ne peux pas comprendre, même comme moi je peux plus te connaître. Y para que yo pueda decir que te necesito, como la tierra necesita las lágrimas del cielo. Ho bisogno di ti. You make me understand why they call them romance languages, but it doesn't matter how many languages I learn if I can never get you to hear them, because you love something. But you let me go, and no matter how hard I try to come back, you will never know. So I'm telling anyone and anything who will listen, preaching into the darkness of a star-studded sky, into other empty apartments that other lovers left behind, hoping that one day, one of those other lovers will get the chance to love you the way I should have. And I tell those other lovers to stop cursing the darkness and let their fires burn like stars, to start throwing open windows and tearing down bars, to unlock the jail cells where they locked up their hearts. I tell those other lovers to move aside their bag and to let someone else in and stop thinking about the end before this even begins. I tell those other lovers, if they ever find you, if they ever get the chance to love you the way I should have, to pass along this uncorked message from my unbottled heart. Before you left me, before I pushed you away, before I lacked the courage to ask you to stay, before you crawled out of my bed and crept into his, if I could have said one thing, I would have said this. I want you. I love you. I need you. Thank you.